knows that without family support, young adults are at a greater risk for being homeless, unemployed, and undereducated. Some may even end up in prison. Just in Time for Youth engages a caring community to help transition foster youth when it's time to go out into the world on their own. Please welcome Executive Director Don Wells. Good morning, Don.
Thanks for having me here.
So tell us what it is that your organization does to bring together these caring individuals to help.
Well, as you said before, when youth leave the foster care system at 18, if you can imagine when you were 18, you were told to go out into the world and make your own way without any help. You couldn't call your parents. You couldn't go back home if you needed to. Just had to make it work. So that's the situation for foster youth. They don't have that family community support that we all need in order to succeed. So what we do is we mobilize volunteers as that community for them. And that's everything from guidance to helping them get connected to resources, all the things that a family member would actually do.
Now, how does it work? Do they meet these folks in years prior, and they kind of mentor them along the way? Or is somebody provided to a child when they turn 18 right before they're going to go out?
Well, what we do is we work with youth from 18 to 26, so that's the population we serve. So what we find is that youth come to us for particular things, like they're going to go to college, and so we give them a laptop. Or they're moving into transitional housing, but they don't have a bed, and we provide that. So they come to us for resources because they really don't expect relationships. I mean, their experience has been you can't count on relationships. I couldn't count on my parents. I got moved around a lot. I'm not really looking for that. But when they come for those resources, then we connect them with volunteers. They find out there are people who do care, who are going to be there consistently, and that becomes their community going forward. So even when they turn 26, now they have those people as of their network of support.
And share with us what you've seen in terms of results.
Well, what we just did there's a group that did a survey just recently, and they said that while we're trying to help with the self-sufficiency thing so they have a place to live and they're getting an education, what was missing was well-being. So we were finding young people who were doing very well, but when it came to emotional support, when it came to feeling like they had a real sense of belonging, that was still lacking. So what that means is that, for example, in this survey, 44% of those young people needed to get medical care, but they didn't really know where to go because they didn't have anybody, and they didn't have that experience growing up of being able to do that. Only about 40% were making healthy food choices, and they like 1 or 2 times a week, that 40%. So it wasn't even a consistent thing there. And they weren't being involved in extracurricular activities or really spending time with friends because they're too busy trying to survive.
Yeah.
So that creates so much stress and tension. And so we started Healthy Practices, this Healthy Practices initiative to try to address some of those things.
If somebody is watching and wants to get involved, how would they reach you? What would they do?
Well, if you go to our website, which is jitfosteryouth.org, there's a whole volunteer engagement page that you can go to. And what we do is you say that you want to be part of this community, and we have people who will come and talk to you and find out how much time you have, what your interest is. And what we really ask volunteers to do is come and be consistent. So if you can only do something once a year, there's a place for you just in time to become part of that community.
Okay, well, good reason for people to at least touch base and see if they're a good fit and perhaps do a lot for these youth that are in such need. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing this important story, and we'll have you back again tonight at 10.